Joining me today at the Rock Pit is Australia's one and only Dellacoma Rio from Dellacoma, who have just released their third album, Searching for You in the Darkness, via XMusic. Welcome to the Rock Pit, Dell. It's been a while since we've caught up, my friend.
It has been a while. We keep saying we're going to, and we've eventually gotten there.
We have indeed. We have indeed. So, congrats on the new album. It's quite a different turn for you stylistically in some places. This album, I'm really enjoying it. What brought about the change and the diversity in this record to the others like Blood?
I think it was just the fact that it is my third studio record. So when you, I know there's a lot of songs from the last records that when I play live, people are going to want to hear them, right? Um, so I'm kind of getting to a point now where, like, as far as a catalog of songs, I'm not just thinking about songs that I'd be playing live. I'm also thinking about songs that you might want to just put on around the home or in different scenarios, but may or may not make it into a live setting. And I never really thought like that before because the first record was literally just me and three other dudes in a van writing songs, and the second record was very much, trying to follow on from that.
Yeah,
Whereas this one, I definitely approached it very differently.
absolutely. And is that because of the new band, the new formation of the band, that the development of the band? I guess what I'm also alluding to there is because you've got these other different side projects going on, the Australian INXS show and now your Bon Jovi show. Are there elements of songwriters that I guess that you're finding are coming back to where you are now?
Absolutely. I mean, in excess, as you brought up, is an interesting one because when I first joined the INXS show, um, my my lower register was what I had to really work on, and that was something that I'd through Sunset Riot and through the early days of Dellacoma, I was really trying to hone the higher register. And in doing the INXS show, I really had to work on the lower register, and I think that comes out in Spare Change, for instance.
Yeah.
And that gives a bit more dynamic. Um, it's it's interesting though because the Begin Again, that's a song that I wrote with Ziggy from Sunset Riot, and we never recorded it. And here we are, 16 years later, finally putting it out. I messaged him. Um, Actually, I've messaged him for every album, and I've said, "Hey, do you mind if I record this song?" And he's like, "Yeah, go for it." And it just didn't feel right on the first one, didn't feel right on the second one, but it felt right on this one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, you're already three singles into it. I Got You is the new single, which follows on from Heroes and More Than Survival. When you look at the three songs, they're all quite different within their own little right, which is amazing, which shows an incredible depth to what you're doing on this new record. Is it something that you consciously think about and going, well, I've got to show more of me. People do know me, do know the Sunset Right. They do know me as a performer, but I guess the understanding of who you are as a writer, and even delving deeper into your poetry that you've done as well. Is this something that you've connected more with? Is this the searching in the darkness that you've been doing, so to speak?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think, since Blood came out, a lot of the songs on Blood were kind of written just before COVID or in the early stages of COVID. And that was, such I feel like it was an emotionally violent time, if
Mm,
that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, it was very, um, it was very shocking on many levels. And that also coupled with I was going through a bit of personal stuff kind of coming out of COVID. So there was a solid sort of 3 or 4 years there that felt like a bit of a roller coaster and like real jolting.
Yeah.
Um, And I think through that there was a lot of stuff that was going on in me. And what I've found along my writing journey is that when you go through stuff as a writer, that's an opportunity to actually put pen to paper. Not that you want to go through difficult times, but you put pen to paper because we're all human, right? And a lot of our experiences are very similar. And I think when you can put pen to paper through some of the more difficult times, you have an opportunity there to almost, turn that pain into gold, and sometimes I think writers maybe don't understand the gift of being able to put into words something that a lot of people can't put into words.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. It's and again, it's through listening to the album. I mean, I find myself connecting in different places, and even on different listens to different songs, something will grab me. Things like "Begin Again," just hits. It triggers something inside, and that's such a beautiful thing. And then you go to things like "Heroes," which is a completely different type of energy, but the message behind all of it is certainly very, very connective in so many ways. In this day and age, when it comes to telling these stories, and even things like "Stay by My Side," which is probably my favorite track on the record, um, the many different angles and the many different takes and emotions that you evoke through these songs really is a credit to the way that you write and the way that you perform. From a music standpoint, when it comes to writing these songs and finding the perfect backing to your words, is it the new band that's helped incite and create some of this new energy or new dynamic?
Um, yes, it's kind of multifaceted because so I appreciate the words, by the way, and I'm glad that it connects because I don't take lightly that I have the opportunity to put out a third album. There's a lot of artists that don't get that opportunity, but um Spare Change, for instance, that was a song that I wrote on a guitar. There's usually there's usually one or two tracks on every album that I write completely,
Yeah,
and then I give them to my producer and I say, "Hey, here's I wrote this song. Can you make it a little bit cooler?"
yeah.
Um, and Spare Change I'd released as just an acoustic track, and then it kept getting added to playlists. And so like on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. So I decided to put it in the set list for the US tour, but the acoustic guitar that we were going to bring on tour, it kind of fell through, and so and there was a lot going on, and so I ended up deciding I was like, you know what, can we just kind of rehearse this song with as a full band and kind of see what happens? Because initially that was just me sending this song to my producer and going, hey, because my producer plays all the guitars on the record, and he's been my co-songwriter on the last couple of records. Um, and the band like brought this new energy to that song, and I noticed, I in my head it was this kind of reflective, I don't know, like I don't even know how to describe it, but it was almost kind of my Bob Dylan in a way, just kind of meandering a bit,
Yeah.
or White Buffalo. Um, just but the band brought this energy, and when we would play it live, I noticed that people would start dancing. And I never thought about it as, as like a danceable song. It was kind of more of a campfire
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
And so because of that, then when we came home from the US tour, I initially had a different song on the record, and I was like, no, we got to do this one, and we got to do the full band one because I want to keep playing it, and I want this to be out. So the band brought an energy for that, and then I've got to say the Bailey's drums, like having him involved, because often what'll happen is I'll either have a writing session with my producer, who I've known since he was like 18.
Yeah.
Um, and we just vibe on a different level. I'll have a bit of a vision, and I'll throw him some keywords, and then we'll just kind of bounce back and forth and back and forth. And we come up with the concepts, and then throwing it to the band. Some of some of Bailey's work on the drums has, when I get that back, because initially it's just demo drums,
Yeah.
you know, and when I get back like his sessions, I'm like, oh, and that gives a new push to stuff,
Mm.
which I think is then carried on through the rest of the record. And the same thing for Caleb's bass lines. Caleb is in very understated on bass. I asked him when I was rebuilding a band in 2022. He was the first member actually that came on board, and he just said yes with no caveat and playing bass lines and doing his thing. And um, I think the band's youth has really helped me almost in a white snake sort of way,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because in this industry it is really easy to get jaded.
Mm.
And I've been at it for a while. And I think the youth of the band is definitely rubbed off on me and helped to give me a little bit of optimism. And this record, there's some definitely some dark parts in it. But you mentioned Bon Jovi before, and one of the things that I've always appreciated about Bon Jovi is how hopeful they are, lyrically, like even on darker albums such as
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
days. Um, and the concept when I was going through, album titles and just the themes, um, I one of the things I wrestled with was how do you tell a story of pain but not be pessimistic?
Mm.
And how do you approach some of the really hard parts of life without getting stuck in the mud?
Mm.
And I wanted I wanted to approach it in the same way that, when you're a kid, and you fall over and you hurt your knee and it's the worst thing ever.
Mm.
And then 10 minutes later, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I'm
You
good.
know,
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. And that's kind of coming full circle. That's basically I got you, you know, is it feels a little bit lighthearted and it feels fairly simple, but it's the idea of it is life's hard,
Mm.
you know. But if you can look at somebody, and just say, you know what, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. Doesn't matter if you lost your job, you're going through a divorce, or you've just had a diagnosis from the doctor that's pretty tough. Just having somebody that goes, I got you. That can mean a lot.
Oh, it means everything. Absolutely. And you know, for those that don't have that and but do have music, I mean that's the beauty and the power of music as well. Is it becomes double faceted. So it's that companion, when
Yeah,
maybe you can't be around somebody, it's a companion. And
yeah,
they're some of the things, and the way you've just described that is what I'm feeling from this new album. So, congratulations on that, very much so. If we can just to lighten things a little bit, I mean, as a performer these days, how are you feeling at this stage in your career? It sounds as though you're starting to find your pinnacle.
Oh, it's it, I feel very blessed, man, to be to be sort of at this point where I can look back and actually go, man, I've had some really cool experiences, and I've been to some really cool places, and music has taken me there. And I've seen to quote Bon Jovi, I've seen a million faces and I've rocked them all.
Yeah.
Um, I I think I'm at a point now in my career where I I feel quite confident to be able to get on any stage
Mm,
and to talk about whatever I want to talk about,
yeah,
which I probably didn't have when I was younger. I still felt like I was trying to prove something, and I think I'm kind of at a point now where I'm not really trying to prove anything. I've always been a very honest person,
yeah,
which there's been times in my career that I've really struggled with not being honest because I want to be honest and I am honest, but struggled with the fact that sometimes this industry asks you to do things and it's okay to say no,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? And I'm not talking about any, I mean, it's all level of things, but even just simple things like, try and write a song, that you're just not feeling,
yeah,
or play a song that you're not feeling.
yeah.
And I, I feel very free at the moment, actually, which is pretty cool.
Mm, absolutely, and it's great place to be. And this year, I guess, has been a really big year for you too. You returned to the US. You've played this country from top to bottom a couple of times over, and you just recently, as recently as last Friday, finished up the you know the release tour for the album. How have those shows been, and what are you finding you're getting from live shows these days? Has it changed from what it was back in the Sunset Riot days?
Um, you know, th- the tour has been great. It's been kind of coupled with the last, with like the INXS show. We kind of did our last shows for the year, and that kind of merged straight into my album launch, so it kind of all blurred into one. Um, but it's been incredible to actually, see people still come out, people that have, been watching me perform for a decade.
Yeah,
And that's really humbling. There was people at my album launch in Melbourne, from Perth, from Sydney, from Melbourne, from Adelaide, and people that have seen me in Sunset Riot years, people that have seen me before that,
yeah,
right? I was because I kind of got decided I wanted to get back into music, and Sunset Riot is where I landed. And that's really humbling for me to be like, man, here we are, like 10, 12. I mean, Sunset Riot broke up 13 years ago.
mm,
And it's cool that people still remember those years. And it's also really cool that people have accepted what I'm doing now.
yeah,
Um, so I think from a live performance perspective, I'll always be a live performer. I still struggle a little bit in the studio, to be honest. It feels um very foreign in a way because live performance, you get one shot,
yeah,
you get one take. You either hit that note or you don't,
yeah,
you know? And in the studio, sometimes you hit a note correctly, but the feeling's not quite there. So then you go back and you do it with feeling, but then you don't quite
yeah,
hit the note properly. So then you keep trying until you actually get it. And it's a very different to live performance. And I've always been a live performer. I feel like I probably always will be. But I'm getting more comfortable in the studio. Live performance, like being able to look people in the eye, like whether it's the INXS show or the Bon Jovi show or doing my own material, being able to look people in the eye and sing these lyrics, with
Feel,
them.
feeling it come back. Yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool because you can, as a performer, you can actually see when somebody accesses a memory.
mm,
You don't know what they're remembering, but people singing along, and then all of a sudden you just see this
yeah,
like light
mm,
come come behind their eyes, and you're like, whoa, that was cool.
mm,
You either remembered something, or you imagined something, or you had a breakthrough, or you had an epiphany, or I don't know what happened there,
yeah,
but you can see it when you're on stage, and that's really cool. There's not many professions that you get that
mm,
in, where you don't know what you've actually been a part of.
Yes.
but you can see that it's cool.
For sure, it must be such a unique feeling, and I often talk about when I review. It's like if I see a live band or for instance, a nostalgic live band, something from the '90s, from the '80s or whatever. Somehow, if that's connected with me, I can go straight back to that first time that I heard it, or the place I was, or a moment. And when you describe that, you're able to see that it must be such a cool thing. It must be like looking into the soul of another person just for a moment. You don't know what you're looking at, but you're looking
Yeah.
at the soul of that person and you're going, yeah, okay, that's that's that point. This is the thing, and this is the beauty of music and how it connects us all in one way or another.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's one of the few things, I've had a couple of conversations with people recently about AI and how that is impacting, and it could potentially impact not just music performance, but music writing in the future. And one of the things that I've often come back to is the fact that in songwriting, the only real thing that you have is your perspective.
Mm,
And that's something that is completely unique to you. AI can't have your perspective. Another person can't have your perspective. But, and this is what's so cool, I think, about songwriting, even though you've had a completely different experience of life, you can write a song from your own perspective and write it in such a way that it lands 100% for another person. The next song you write might not land for them because our perspectives are all unique, right?
yeah.
If you line up your perspective with their perspective just for that little bit, oh man, that is, I still remember um, when I was auditioning for Sunset Riot, JP, the lead guitarist, had already written Moonshine.
Yeah.
And that was off our first record. And at the time, I was like, nah, I only sing my own lyrics. Right? I only sing my own lyrics. And I listened to the song and I was like, man, I could have written this. Like when I say I could have written it, I mean like the lyrics. I go, if you had asked me to rewrite it, I wouldn't have done anything different.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if somebody else can write a song lyrically that I feel like came from me, then I want to be a part of that because
Mm,
that's pretty cool. And from a music listener standpoint, I think, if you can do that as a writer, if you can write something that somebody else felt like came from inside them, I mean, that's wild.
yeah. Yeah.
That's magic.
Absolutely, it
You
is.
know?
Absolutely, and that's the one thing I've always been a fan of with your writing and your music is the way, and even your poetry is the way that you find a way to connect. It may not be a whole poem, it may be just a couple of lines, but finding that truth, I guess, within somebody else's writing is always a beautiful thing. So, I mean, we've just released "Searching for You in the Darkness." What's next? What's 2026 look like?
Well, 2026, I'm kind of taking stock, to be honest. I'm 20, I've got some plans I'm not ready to release yet for 2027. So 2026 is we've got some INXS show dates. I've got a couple of ideas that I'd like to do with the original show, and kind of just prepping.
Yeah.
Um, I'm there's I've got a few songs that I intentionally did not release online that are on the physical copies of the album.
Yeah.
And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to reward people that actually bought physical in today's day and age. And also, I wanted to try to, I guess, just extend the life of this collection as well. So we've got another three songs that are, if you've got the physical copy of the album, then you know what the songs are. But
It's
if you
coming.
don't,
It's coming, Dell. It's not here yet, but it's coming. So
um, uh, So I think 2026 is going to be an interesting year. I'm actually, you mentioned poetry before. I've been sitting on a second book of poetry for about 4.5 years now. It's called Hopium,
Hmm.
and it's all done. It just I haven't released it yet.
Yeah.
So I think 2026 is probably going to be that year. And we'll definitely see a few more Dellacoma shows. And I think it'll be a lot of just preparing for 2027 because I have a feeling 2027 is going to be pretty big.
Wow. Super exciting stuff. And for those of the, you've spoken of physical product. Now, obviously, the wonderful people at XMusic have put out CD and vinyl and in assorted bundles with shirts and hoodies and some amazing artwork that differentiates a couple of the packages. How's it been working with the guys from XMusic? I mean, working with a label that purely is seriously about promoting strong Australian independent talent. How's your time with XMusic been, and do you see that future expanding quite a bit?
Absolutely. They've been an incredible team. This is the third label I've been on now. It's been unfortunately a different one for each record. But the thing that I really appreciate most about X Music is they've got experience, but you're not also not just a number as well. So, you know, I've been able to chat to them and go, "Hey, I want to do this," and they'll give their advice. And if they, if I really want to do something, then they're like, "Okay, all right, we've given you our advice, but go for it." And they've been so supportive. And I couldn't have. It's the first time in my life that I've charted in Australia this year, and I've been very, very, very blessed. And it wouldn't have happened without them.
No, they're a fantastic team, and I love what they do for all of their artists. And again, it is great to see you chart and get the recognition that you so deserve. Um, Dell, it's been an amazing chat. We could chat forever. I mean, we're old friends. I'm just thinking about when you said the end of Sunset Riot. I think I met you right at the very end of Sunset Riot. So
Yeah.
it's wild to think that it's a 13-year-old friendship
Yeah.
that's blossomed over the years. So, but congratulations on such a wonderful, raw and honest album. And I look forward to seeing you again. And apologies for not being at the launch. I had another commitment, but
You're
yeah,
busy. You're a busy man. Tasmanians can only be in one place at one time, contrary to popular belief.
that's exactly right. We may have two heads, but we can only be one place. That's the hard part of it all.
It's
All
been
right,
great to
Dale.
chat to you, mate. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, yeah. Big love to you too, my friend. But here's to a safe and healthy festive season and to a brilliant 2026 to you. It's been absolutely fabulous catching up with you, and let's do it again in 2026, mate.
Sounds good.